post on Facebook. Facebook's getting better. Facebook's getting better.
You know,
Why am I singing?
I don't know. We'll have a glut of people like defriending us now on Facebook because they want to keep you in that Everton top. Now, just
Voice of fucking doom, you are, aren't
you
you?
hated that,
I'm
Charlie.
excited today.
I did.
Anyway.
I did.
I just went down to make myself a cup of tea. My wife had just dropping the kids off at rugby camp, and she just come back and she just said, "Sick to death of you in that shirt."
That's not what you want to hear when your missus has just dropped the kids off at rugby camp for like the day. You want to hear, get your clothes off and get me in that bed, don't you? It's like when you get older, though, it doesn't happen, does it? I don't think it's ever happened to me, if I'm honest.
Life's life. Anyway, fuels come down today because Trump fucking backed down, didn't he?
Yeah.
So fuel prices have come down today, which is good.
The fuel prices come down, have they?
Yeah, 14%. Oh, well, I don't know if they come down on the pump, but I know that they've come down on the barrel. When I read the first thing this morning when I was sat on the throne.
I was going to say, you know, we were talking about good poos. I had a really good one this morning. You know when you've got like the thick, dark brown loggy shit? That's when you know you've achieved something in the morning, I think.
Like laying cable. When you think when you're doing this, I'm laying cable here.
Yeah. It just keeps. Yeah, absolutely brilliant, mate. Yeah. I just saw the thing last night on Trump, and I thought I'll message you because I'm like our man in Iran needs to get on this because I don't know what's going on. But it was like everything could have been all over overnight, couldn't it? It was like he's going to
what did he put? You messaged it to me. Oh yeah, that's right. A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. Who the fuck says that? Who the fuck says that?
He's a Sith Lord, mate, isn't he? He's a Sith. He's a Sith Lord. That's what he is, pal. You know. He's
like he's back down basically, and he's turned around and said, "Oh, because what's happened overnight? Because I think the deadline was 8 o'clock last night, US time, which is like 1 o'clock in the morning here. But I think it was an hour or so before that the Iranians and the US have agreed a ceasefire. But you know, they shouldn't be fucking firing with the first place. You know, the Iranians are retaliating, aren't they? They wouldn't have fired a single fucking shot if they wouldn't have been attacked. The weird thing on all this is he's going on saying it's victory. This is a great victory for humanity. Stuff like this he's going on about. But he's back down basically. He's fucking back down. The Iranians have put out a 10-point plan that they want to adhere to, and apparently the Americans have okayed it. That's what they're going to discuss over the next 2 weeks. But while this is all going on, the fucking Israelis have said, "Oh yeah, the ceasefire," because Trump said, you know, all hostilities will end, and the Israelis have said, "Oh yeah, that's fine, but we're still going to twat the Lebanon."
Yeah.
Fucking cunts.
That's mad, isn't it? The world is mad. Why can't they just be like us? You know what I mean? Drinking out of mugs with flowers on and
peace and love, man. Peace and love. I'm not doing any more signatures. I'm not doing any more autographs. Okay. Peace and love.
Good old Ringo, eh? Oh dear. So how's that? Is the Everton shirt affecting your sex life?
The Everton shirt affects everyone's sex life, doesn't it? Let's face it.
Yeah, because even people who are watching the pod must think, "Oh no, not in the mood."
Yeah. Well, you know, I've heard a rumour that people are actually printing off photos of me in this Everton shirt and put it on the mantelpiece to keep the kids away from the fire. But I don't know if you are. I will be seeking some sort of payment. Cha-ching.
Yeah, ka-ching.
Royalty.
We're all about the commissions on the Funnyfarm Pod.
I think we need to push this more, though, Chris. I think you need to send an email to Everton Football Club or Liverpool Football Club or like to the local, like Liverpool Echo or where I am, the Wirral Globe, and just say that this soft bastard is wearing an Everton shirt until we reach 1,000 followers? Can you do a piece on him?
Yeah, a cod piece.
That would be.
I did tag it.
Every time I think of cod piece, I think of Cameo. Remember that band Cameo? Word up, word up. Oh, and he had that big red cod piece.
I did tag Everton Football Club into one of the posts, but they didn't respond, mate.
No,
I think I'd just be wasting my time by writing to them, wouldn't I?
I don't know. You never know.
You are promoting their club, aren't you, on the pod every day?
Yeah, but have you noticed I always try and sit down so the badge doesn't show?
It's been duly noted, mate. There maybe that could be a thing then. I'll get Everton to sponsor us, mate. Would you want the pod?
If we do have any journalistic listeners out there, maybe they can do a piece on why we're so desperate to get to 1,000 followers. We're on 626.
I don't care. I'll be honest, mate. I'm happy at 626.
I don't think any fucker cares, to be honest with you.
How long have you had that Everton shirt on now? I mean, obviously
24 days today. It is 24 days.
No, and we've had an increase of about 24 followers.
I think I put it on 125, 126. We did it, didn't we?
No, that's you're living and dying for your art, but that is pretty good, mate. You've increased the following, by about 25%. So
I tell you what, you've got to do something special when I fucking we get to 1,000 followers.
I'll give you a round of applause, mate. What do you want me to do? I got my tits out on the pod the other
day. you did actually. That's been banned. That clip.
Yeah, Facebook have said no. Yeah. So everything going on in the world, and we're making light of the fact that you can't get that fucking shirt off your back. Did you see the other thing that I sent you? The guy who Monster Mansion, the prison thing that Ian Watkins and Ian Huntley, both been murdered, and there's a guy I watched it. I think it's one of the big top prisons. I think it's called Monster Mansion. They call it, where they've got literally all the hardcore prisoners. I watched a documentary on it. Is it Strange Ways? Might be Strange Ways.
Strange Ways is in Manchester, isn't it?
Yeah. I think. Hang on, where is it? The Monster. Wakefield, Monster Mansion. So that's the prison that they've nicknamed Wakefield Monster Mansion. And there's a guy in there who says that this is it's basically going to spiral, and there's just going to be loads and loads of copycat stuff going on. So I just realised I've not took my metformin, mate. So I'll do that now.
Yeah, you better get it down. Yeah, I mean, that Ian Watkins, he was a nasty, horrible bastard, wasn't he? What was the
Lost Prophet
that he was in? I felt sorry for the other members of that band.
Was it the Lost Prophets?
The Lost Prophets, yeah.
What do they sing? I'm going to be honest with you, mate. I don't really know. I'll probably know a song they sung, but I didn't follow the band.
Yeah. To be honest with you, they brought out some pretty decent stuff. But, the other members of that band are obviously talented musicians to get to that stage. And it's basically fucked up their careers, hasn't it?
I was listening to radio the other day. Yeah, you're absolutely 100% right. It's like they won't play any Lost Prophet songs anymore. So, because he was a fucking nonce and that, did they find, was he a real wrongman? Did he shag kids and stuff?
Babies. It was babies, mate. It was It was horrible with some girl as well. So it was horrible.
You get it, don't you? I mean, his family shouldn't profit from any of that, but radios now won't play any of their songs. So basically, the other members of the band who were completely innocent aren't going to earn any money from the work that they did through that time. All you can hope is that they've pumped enough away that they don't need it, but then The more
Yeah,
you,
I mean, and it's like, you're always going to be tarred with that brush. Unfortunately, society's like that, isn't it? It's you were in the lost profits, weren't you? It's just like it's just
you literally, if that's you, you sat having a quiet meal with your family in a pub or something like that, and people are going to be going, "What was Ian Watkins like? What did you know? Did you know what was going on? Were you involved and all this? That it's just going to be, I think your own. I mean, if it was me, I'd just hide away. I just don't think I'd.
I know people are weird. I remember when I was when I was at uni, I went to Loughborough Uni, didn't I? And like I got myself like you had to pass a test to take to use the university minibus, and yeah the the women's hockey team said, "Can you take us to this tournament in Gloucestershire?" So we went down to Gloucester, and we did the tournament. They're all hammered in the back of the van and that, and then on the way back, they're like, "Right, okay, come on, let's go to Cromwell Street." So we they one of the girls was from Gloucester, so we went to Cromwell Street. So it's like, like that touristy thing, and you're driving past, and like there's Cromwell Street and with Fred West, because it was still standing there, right next door to it, like a church. It was a bit bizarre. Yeah,
So,
yeah, like a modern day church. It was a bit bizarre. Then we just go back, but yeah, so it's like people sort of like, like you mentioned then, what was Ian Watkins like? What was he like? And it's weird, isn't it? How people wanna know the macabre, and
I'm not terrible for it. We. I think it started quite a young age for me. Like I was obsessed with the craze when I was young. I had
yeah,
all the books and used to read those books. I was obsessed with gangsters and stuff like that. From a learning perspective, not from I didn't I know I fantasize about killing somebody, but that's not the
Oh, it's a fantasy now, is it?
yeah. But
It's
yeah,
still
it's always
relevant.
been, and
It's still
then
relevant.
obviously, you read and look about, Jack the Ripper was always something that was like, I think everybody
Yeah.
like would love to go back and have a look at what that was all about, and stuff. So there's always that macabre, and people are always going to be, no matter how sick or twisted the person is, it's almost human nature to try and want to understand why those people did that. I mean, I did a psychology degree, didn't I? And that was to understand my own mental health and why I thought the way that I did and all that stuff. But that obviously does drive into like abnormal psychology and stuff like that. And you do, yeah, it's a mad old world. But like going back to the music thing, you've got like people like Gary Glitter and stuff like that. No radio play of those songs. Can you still
They
like
play fucking Michael Jackson songs.
that was it? Yeah, but he's never been convicted or anything. So that's the thing, isn't it? They can't cancel him because he's not been convicted. So
Go on,
comedian.
go on. Do your milk and cookie impression. Go on.
I've got a bit of a hoarse throat today, mate.
That's what Michael Jackson
We
used
go
to
to
say.
bed and we eat cookies and we cuddle all night. But I'm not a paedophile.
Fuck off.
But it's fucking 100%. But there's loads of people like it's such a the Michael Jackson thing is such a split thing, isn't it?
I
Because
know,
like
it's weird. It's weird. That thing I watched the other week, I don't know if I said it on the pod, but I mean, it was like evidence from years ago, and it was like people who were investigating it, and they said that he used to have, when you went up to his bedroom, you had to go up some stairs, and you had to go down a corridor before you actually got to his bedroom. And along this corridor, he had sensors which
yeah,
would chime. So he'd know that when people were coming into his bedroom, you
yeah.
know, it's
Didn't like Macaulay Culkin though, because he was one of the ones that they reckon he'd nonce, wasn't it? Didn't he come out and say that he never did anything to him?
and somebody else did and said that he never did anything, and then afterwards, after he died, they said, you know what? In fact, he went into court and said in court that Michael Jackson never did anything to him, and then I think was it after he died, he come out and said, yeah, he did. He actually did. I lied in court, basically.
Perjury.
and he wouldn't. Nobody would accept that because he basically said in court that nothing had happened. But again, that's like another conspiracy theory thing, isn't it? To Michael Jackson, a lot of people.
With that situation, though, you've kind of shown yourself that you're a liar, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking this the other day. You know the boy that cried wolf and that? I'm waiting for a new whiteboard. I bought a big whiteboard for me because I need to write a load of new material. I've got a little one, but it's just not quite good, and I have to keep rubbing it off.
Go on about your little one. Can you pack it in? Go on.
I've got a big one now on its way. But yesterday I was waiting for it to come. It's coming today now. They fucked up. Whoever they gave it to a shit delivery driver, probably one of your mates from when you used to do it. And it didn't turn up. But the dogs were like a pain in the arse last night. They kept running to the door and barking and running to the door and barking. And you go through and you'd be like, fucking get back in here. And I thought to myself, do you know what? They're lying little bastards, they are. They're winding me up, like making out there's somebody at the door. And then when the door goes, they're just going to sit there, aren't they, like this? And not, because they're rabbits, obviously. And they're not going to run to the door and tell me that my whiteboard's arrived. It's that boy that cried wolf thing. And that's exactly that situation. You've gone in court and gone, he never touched me. And then, because he's dead now, I mean, what threats were made, though, or what coercion was done to stop the people coming forward?
There was lots of it. There was lots of coercion, threats, backhanders. There was all sorts, wasn't there?
Could you imagine it like he gets on the phone to the parents?
Hi there, it's Michael Jackson here. If you go to court and you grass on me, I'm going to kill your whole family. Okay?
You're not going to be fucking scared, are you?
Bring it on, Michael. Bring it on.
Come on, boy. Bring your brothers and Janet as well. Shambo!
Motherfucker.
Well,
it is. That is quite.
But it is interesting if that whole prison back to the Monster Mansion thing. If that they've got like a special wing in Wakefield where it's like underground, and I'm guessing a lot of prisons do. But it's underground. There's a documentary. I think it's called Inside the Monster Mansion, and like people like Charlie Manson have been down there, and like some very, very high level criminals. And that guy who is in the picture that I sent you, he's interviewed on it, and he's out now. He's not in prison, I don't think, but he's a hardened criminal. And he was like, obviously on that thing that I sent you, saying that there's going to be some copycat shit going on. How do you feel about that? Because basically, in order to copy what's gone on, people have got to kill nonsense, basically. And to me, I don't know. I don't think
nobody's only ever going to shed a tear about somebody who's going to, a non-Saudi. Nobody's going to shed a tear over that. I mean, I know everybody goes on about the death penalty, but they should be have the death penalty. But I think remaining in prison, they have to live with that every day of their lives. What they've done, they've had all their liberties taken away, or they should have all their liberties taken away. The daily looking over their shoulder. Ian Huntley must have been looking over his shoulder, and Ian Watkins, he must have been looking over their shoulder, because it's not the first time they've been beaten up in Nick anyway. And we only hear half the stories, don't we? We probably only hear about the ones which are bad, where they've been hospitalised.
Yeah. I don't think when Sutcliffe was in prison, I don't think it was very long. He was blind, wasn't he? Because somebody stabbed him in the eye with a screwdriver or something, wasn't it? So yeah, I mean, there is that element, isn't there? So die or live in fear for the rest of your life and be kept alive and just always be looking over your shoulder.
Yeah. And I'd rather have them doing that, to be honest with you, than fucking getting on the end of a noose and it's all over for them.
But there is, basically, I mean, my argument to that is the amount it costs to keep those people in prison. And, if they've got a release date they fucking shouldn't have, if they've ever touched a kid or killed a kid or anything like that, they shouldn't ever be released from prison. So it's a lot of money. I can't remember the exact figures on it, but Maxine, what was her name? The one who was with Huntley?
Maxine Carr.
Maxine Carr, to put her and keep her in witness protection, she's in witness protection now, it was like hundreds of thousands of pounds a year to keep her and everything. And it's like, yeah, that's mad. And she was complicit, wasn't she?
Yeah, she totally lied, didn't she?
Yeah.
She was there, she'd fucking cooked a meal, she was his alibi. But one of the biggest things with there was, didn't she say the girls they were great girls? You know, the tents that she put in, like, you know, when they were like, lad, you know, they're dead. But then I think the defence argued that when the reporter put that question to them, he put it in the same tense as well. You know, so why wouldn't she answer like that?
Leading question. It was like, I mean, I don't believe that, you know, she's obviously not had anything to do with killing the kids or anything like that, but she was complicit in keeping him out of Nick, wasn't she? And
She got out years ago, didn't she? She got out years ago.
Yeah, she didn't get very long at all, I don't think. But she's in, like, say, she's in witness protection. Those Bulger, the ones who killed Jamie Bulger, I think one of them, we've got, where I live, there's a unit just up the road called Clayfields, and apparently they were there at some point, like way before I lived here, because that was a long old time ago. But they, again, another one where, you know, one of them I think is abroad somewhere, and one of them's like kind of gone on to live a semi-normal life, and the other one's been in and out of prison and is a paedophile, like on the sex offenders register and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, kind of, I know that there's rehabilitation. I know that people can be rehabilitated. If you keep going into Tesco's or Iceland and nicking meat and selling it down your local pub, or you go in and nick a brolly from fucking Peacocks or a Top, or, you know, that shoplifting, stuff like that, drug addiction, you know, acquisitive crime where you know, taking cars and stuff like that, all that, potentially, yeah, there's rehabilitation. But if you've got a penchant for fucking shagging kids or looking at kids in that way, you aren't ever going to be cured of that. So if you've acted on it, my opinion is you should be locked away for the rest of your life as a minimum. But then there's the fact that, you know, there's a lot of cost involved in that, and prisons are full and stuff, aren't they? So what do you do?
Yeah, you can't go around killing them all.
No.
You know?
There's an argument with paedophiles anyway. There's levels. I remember having a conversation with a good mate of mine, and unfortunately he took his own life. There's a fucking theme, isn't there, with people that know me, you know what I mean? But he took his own life. But he was a very clever lad. I met him at uni. Liam, his name. Lovely, lovely lad. He was a Tory, but we won't hold that against him. And he was saying about, me and him was having a heated conversation, because my view on it was always kill them. You know, if they've got a thing, you're never going to stop me being attracted to women. You couldn't turn around to me and go, right, you can only shag men now. That's never happening. So if you've got like a sexual preference and it's for kids, underage, you know, underage people, you can't like act on that. And a lot of paedophiles don't actually act on it. There's a lot of people out there that have physically gone and said, can you do something to take the urges away? And they won't chemically castrate based on that. They won't just do it. That should be on the NHS as far as I'm concerned. You know, if you're openly that you've got that kind of, and you can be chemically castrated, so to speak.
I mean, why? I mean, my missus, for the job that she does, she's so, you know, with our kids, she's so spot on. She won't like, the kids can't have a football shirt with their name on or anything like that. She doesn't even like the kids going to school with the school badge on. You know, she's against all that. She just thinks it just turns them into targets, especially the names on football shirts. You know, and like, you know, when people put like their date of birth on their email address, you know, it's just a giveaway for paedophiles and stuff like that. And yeah, she's so on the ball with it all, you know, and she's like, you know, she won't let them join the BB or the Scouts or anything like that, you know.
And my scout leader was also, I don't know if I probably have spoken about this on pod. So my scout leader, Mr. Parkin, was he was a teacher as well at our junior school, and everybody loved him. Do you know what I mean? He was on the face of it, he was a great guy. And I was in the Beavers, the Cubs, and the Scouts, and he used to give me a lift home. My mum, he taught my mum. He was like, yeah, like so. He was like, yeah, I'll give Chris a lift home. He didn't live that far away. He's dead now. But we were doing. I used to love the gang shows. You know, I'm theatrical. I like acty stuff and whatnot. And one of the things I used to love about the Scouts was the gang show that you used to do. I never got any decent parts in it, but I used to like being in the chorus and whatever. And we turned up for this gang show rehearsal one night, and Mr. Parkin wasn't there, and he used to play the piano and all that. And he wasn't there, and we were all like, what the fuck's going on? And this, I was about 15 at the time, so I was like virtually at the end of my scouting like career, shall we say. I was doing my GCSEs and whatnot at the time, so it was the last one. I was either 14 or 15. I was either in year 10 or year 11. And then, you know, the guy who was running the scout, he was like the scout leader, was called Skip. He's dead as well now, unfortunately. He was a top lad. He was just like, now Mr. Parkin's not going to be here for a few weeks. We need to just crack on and this, that, and the other. And the gang show was filmed for him because he couldn't be at the show. So they filmed it for him. I remember before the performance that was filmed, Skip was like, make sure you sing your hearts out tonight. It's being videoed for Mr. Parkin and this, that, and the other. And it turned out that he'd been noncing his kids like years ago. Like it was 20 years before anything was found out. He got, I can't, because I was only young at the time, he got like 10 years. So he was in Leicester prison for 10 years. And thank fuck I was an ugly kid. That's all I'm going to say. You know, yeah. So that
it's just like, you know, people, and you know, they're just being done for that. It's weird, and you know, like a lot of people say, oh, it's a lot worse now, but it wasn't. They've always had probably more. You know, it's or you know, a similar number of paedophiles for thousands of years.
yeah,
You know, it's always been going on. It's just like, I think now, over the last sort of like 20 years or something, it's just because of social media and that, it's just more prominent, isn't it? You know,
it was always the stranger danger, wasn't it? Back when we were don't talk.
Yeah, it was, you know, don't talk to. Charlie says, don't take your. Yeah, I used to get that when I was fucking little as well. Charlie says. I'll fucking laugh.
Charlie says, don't let that happen.
When I was younger, Charlie wasn't like a popular name like it is now. Oh, I was a Charles, wasn't I? But everybody used to call me Charlie. But Charlie says, so I used to get all that when I was little. But yeah, Charlie says, don't fucking go off with blokes with chocolates or puppies and stuff like that, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, and like you say, it's like the onset of technology, and I'm going to sound like a right doddering old ball bag again now, but the onset of the internet, which I am, it does make makes it more mainstream available, doesn't it? At the end of the day, on TikTok.
It's not only like pointing it out more, but they're fucking using the technology, aren't they? Yeah. They're using it to download thousands and thousands of fucking images. You know, there's websites out there. There's people making a fucking fortune off it. You know, it's bizarre. You know, you look at that fucking Hugh Edwards thing. He had a fucking paedophile dealer, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, he was finding sites for him, man.
Crazy. I mean, with like Mr. Parkin, I mean, if you nowadays, I don't know if people would look at him and go, maybe he's a bit funny, because he was like the scout leader, but he got involved in Beavers, Cubs and Scouts. Everyone absolutely fucking loved this guy, by the way. He was like the best thing, like up until people knew what he was really about. Everyone loved him. He was he was like when like at the end of the year and you like getting put into your class in junior school, and like you realise I'm in third year. Mr. Parkin's one of the I want to be in his class, and I was in his class and stuff, and he was great. I remember at the end he used to have a snake called Sergeant, and he used to like, you know what I mean, and it all adds up, doesn't it? He's like, come to my classroom and this, that, and the other. Do you know what I mean? He had sweets and stuff. You know, he used to do at the end of the class. You'd do, did you ever play the game of knowledge?
Yeah.
Went around all the planet.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like you'd get questions at the end of the day from the general knowledge or the science, whatever, and you'd just ask a few questions, and then you'd get a sweet or whatever. He'd got Sergeant in there. Do you know what I mean? He used to coach tennis, so he was the tennis coach. And all this, it's like it's so obvious when you like, but it was so sad at the time. And you know the whole Michael Jackson thing. Like thinking back to it, I was just like, no fucking way. That absolutely no way that he's done this. No way. Until he got sent to prison, we were all just like, there's absolutely no way. And then my dad turned around to me. I was still like, when he got sent to prison, I was like, there's no way that's Mr. Parkin's done that. Absolutely no way. And my dad said, do you know what, mate? He's been sent to prison for 10 years. They don't send people to prison for 10 years if they've not done it. And it's like, that was like the fucking realisation of all of us that had like grown up like loving this teacher. You know, because most of the teachers were fucking bellends. There was a few good ones, but most of them were bellends. And yeah, shocking. Absolutely shocking. And bringing kids into a world like where there's people like that and the internet. And I remember when our kids first got mobile phones, Jane was just like, yeah, give them a mobile phone, fucking that'd be right. And I was petrified about it. And, we've done 31 and a half minutes, mate.
I know, I think we need to explore this sort of like school thing, because I've got some memories of school as well, which was a bit weird. Of primary school. Anyway, so we've talked about Paedophiles today.
We'll continue this tomorrow, guys. We'll be continuing this in about 5 minutes' time, but you'll see it tomorrow. This is so Charlie can go to Port Maddock and not be worried about not, making sure we've got good content for you guys. So anyway, that was an episode about nonsense and Iran, really. So yeah, we will see you tomorrow. Love you all.
See you guys.
Hello at funnyfarmpod.co.uk. Has anyone actually ever emailed us?
Yeah, we had a few off Debbie, didn't we, at the beginning? Yeah, we've had a few emails. People want to come on the pod and stuff like that. We haven't had anything for a while.
Can you just email us just so that we know it works?
Yeah, that'd be a good idea, yeah.
Drop us an email. Tell us what you think about Charlie wearing this Everton shirt. Hello at funnyfarmpod.co.uk. Give us some suggestions on what Chris could do to top what he's doing. I've already said that I will go into the Derby County shop when we hit 5,000 followers. I'll go and buy a Derby County shirt and I'll wear it for a month on pod. And then I will put it in the burning bin at the end of that and burn it.
I don't think you should burn it.
Well, you see, what I'm doing, Charlie, what you've not done, see, I'm going, right, Forest fans are not going to want to see me wearing a Derby shirt. But if I say I'm going to make a video of me burning it at the end, that's going to get followers, that's going to get us. If you want to see me burn a Derby County shirt, follow us. See you tomorrow.